Sylas is one of the best mid lane picks in the game to go for right now, so here's a quick guide to help you get started. Sylas is a skirmishing monster with a high amount of damage, mobility and healing. He has a lot of kill threat in the early game, especially once he's got all 3 basic abilities alongside his passive, and if he does get ahead, he snowballs so fast. Sylas's ultimate is incredibly versatile and rewards players for their game knowledge and skill expression. This means he does take some practice though due to that ultimate, and if the enemy team doesn't have any good ones for him to steal, he can be a lot less impactful. For your runes, you want to grab yourself Conqueror for some more healing, Last Stand for some more damage when you're low health, which works really well with your W, and then fill the rest of the runes out for sustain and survivability. You're going to want to max your W first, as it does a ton of damage and returns so much health back to you. Then go for your E second for the cooldown and the damage, and finally finish off with your Q. So when it comes to your mythic item, Everfrost works so well with this champion. It allows him to lock down his opponents for longer and follow that up with his E or vice versa. Plus, the stats it offers too are pretty damn perfect. Then you've got these 3 items which are basically Sylas's bread and butter: Lucidity Boots, Cosmic Drive and Zhonya's Hourglass. Then you can round off your build with those damage options like Shadow Flame, Rabadons and Void Staff. If you need some anti-healing, get yourself a Morello's. If you're snowballing super hard, consider a Majia's Soul Stealer. And if you need some defensive items, there's Spirit Visage for that sustain and magic resist, or Banshee's Veil for that spell shield. Now against easy matchups, you want to look to fight often with your abilities and your passive and heal back any return damage with your W. Your E and W combined together allows you to close the gap on your enemies super easily, and if they lack mobility, you can really punish them with this often. Try to abuse your auto attack reset passive and use this to maximize your DPS. Sylas's level 3 power spike is pretty nuts, so look to fight an all-in those easy matchups. Sylas struggles against champions who can put out consistent damage without too much response. Try to farm up to level 6 and trade around your W to heal off any of their damage. Be careful about being pushed into your tower where you may struggle to farm, and save your E to escape from any incoming ganks. And apart from that, just roam and carry other lanes instead. You're going to work best with any strong skirmishing junglers due to this being the main strength to Sylas's playstyle. Any opportunities you have to 2v2 the mid and jungle early game and start snowballing is the perfect way to win games on Sylas. In the lane phase, you are fairly vulnerable levels 1 and 2, but once you hit level 3, you become so much stronger due to having access to all 3 abilities, meaning you can abuse your passive so much easier. Now you can look for those big trades and all-ins from this point onwards depending on the matchup. Aside from that, you want to get to level 6 as soon as possible, as once you've got that ultimate, your carry potential just goes through the roof. Always be ready to assist your jungler in early skirmishes, as Sylas is always up for a fight. Just be mindful of your mana, as he can struggle with it before hitting that first item. If your opponent has a good dueling ultimate, look to all-in them once you're level 6, or if not, look to roam and influence other lanes instead. Always try and pick your ultimate depending on how much impact you can have on the game. If you're against the Twisted Fate, steal his ultimate and gank bot. If you're against the Zed, steal his and kill him instead. The main thing to remember though is if you do get ahead on Sylas in the lane phase, make sure to play aggressive and trade as often as you can. Due to your healing and your damage with your W, you can become very hard to deal with, and you can really abuse your lead to start carrying. So Sylas is probably one of the most versatile team fighters in the game, mainly due to that ultimate. He has tons of different ways to influence fights depending on which ultimates are available for him to steal. If you're super far ahead, you want to look for the best ultimate that will allow you to delete as many high priority targets as possible. If you're a bit far behind, you want to look to get an AoE crowd controlling ultimate or a peeling ultimate for your more ahead teammates, such as a fed AD carry. Aside from the ultimate though, you just want to look to constantly dart in and out of fights, healing and damaging as many enemies as you can, and using your Zhonyas to buy yourself time for those cooldowns. Sylas is also fantastic at flanking, so look for angles to get behind teams and pop down those squishy targets. Let's finish off with a few quick Sylas tips then. Remember to utilize your passive when trading and combine it with those other abilities. It's key to trading early game and picking up kills. Your W and your E1 are both auto attack resets too, so remember this when looking to burst down your enemies. You can use your E2 to avoid enemy CC if you time it perfectly. You can also use this to cancel your Q's animation and certain ultimates animations too, like if you steal yourself a Pyke ultimate. Remember that your ultimate is a projectile, so be careful when using it versus Yasuo's Wind Wall, Samira's W, and of course any spell shields. That's going to wrap up our short guide on Sylas in the mid lane. Good luck and have fun.